how to chase a stock effectively and when you should chase it, our game plan in Forex, as well as our full stock analysis. I am Mark Melnick, and this is the Newsbeat Show. Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, Monday has generally been not the best trading day, and it's like that, believe it or not, for the majority of traders. People are getting their feet wet over the weekend, and they're coming back in, and they're sort of just dipping that toe in the water, so to speak. But today, there was something very unique that happened in the market. And the ability to identify this correctly is what puts us ahead of other trading rooms, other trading communities. Is just simple looks like this. And as a result, whether you're in the room or not, I am going to teach you when actually to chase a stock. Now, I got an email, and I'm just going to go ahead and read this email. Mark, thank you. The master course was absolutely phenomenal. I loved it. However, I noticed that you chased in Baba today. Why did you do it when you generally wait for pullback? Sincerely, okay, don't need to drop the gentleman's name. So, why? Does it make sense to chase a stock? 99.9% of the time, the answer is no. You have to look for certain things that rarely come all together in order to chase a stock. If you guys realized, I chased a stock for the first time in a long time on Friday, and that was in Apple. And all of a sudden, you see me chasing Apple right off the open on Friday. And then, of course, what happened on Apple? Apple shot up. So right here is Friday on Apple. You could see we bought it very early, and it shot up. We bought it after the 1 minute bar broke on Apple. And the beautiful thing is, we bought it right here. Here was Friday. And as soon as you broke the high of the first 1 minute bar, we purchased it. Now, I don't always do that. And no, this strategy does not work for every single stock. But there is something that you should know when to do these things. So I chased on Apple, somebody brought it up, and then I chased on Baba, and then people are like, what happened? Did I change anything? And the truth is, I haven't. It's just unique opportunities come up sometimes in the market. So let's go ahead and talk about Alibaba. So first of all, if you want to know how Alibaba was presented in our room today, I don't always like the idea of just giving a trade idea. When people ask me questions, I'll give you a trade idea, generally speaking. However, trade ideas, I think, are too easy. I think it's almost like a broadcasting trick that some people use where they'll be like, okay, this looks like it could bounce here because all day people were like, Mark, great call on this, great call on this, great call on this. And those were actually trade ideas. Why? Because I didn't trade them. They weren't actual physical trades. I did. And a lot of times people ask me to watch their names, and I will give you a trade idea on your name, in which I will sometimes take, sometimes not. But on my trades, you get the full disclosure. So, what does it look like? Well, what did it look like this morning? And I boldened it here just so you could see it. This is what it looks like in the morning. We had our morning game ideas, and our game plan ideas, and this is what it looked like. And I'm basically saying that Baba is my favorite name. This is in the pre-market. We start this at 9 o'clock in the morning before the opening bell. So the first thing I'm literally telling you this morning is that Baba is my favorite name. I don't always have a favorite name. It was my favorite name. And then you might go ahead and might say, well, why was Baba your favorite name? What actually made you choose this name today? And if you didn't see what Baba did, here's a 1 minute chart. It basically in 8 minutes went from $190.30 to $194.50. This is a 1 minute chart. 8 minutes it did this, and we were part of it. So what happened? What exactly happened? Why should you chase Baba? And how would you know before it even opened that you should have chased Baba? You have everything. You have to have everything going for you. The stock closed above 4 powerful moving averages after Friday. Okay. right over here. You see here's Friday's close. We closed above all the moving averages. By the way, for people who took that call spread, looks like I was like a fish out of water on Friday, and the stock actually shot up, and I was able to like recover over 5 grand. I actually made 5 grand. I actually recovered all my money and more when Baba shut up on Friday. But in terms of today, I was watching it because the day before, and here's a daily chart of Baba, it closed above the 50, the simple 50, the exponential 8, the simple 200, and the exponential 21. Those are the four colored lines that you have here. Those are the four colored moving averages that you closed above on Baba. So that's extremely bullish. Next, the stock had massive pre-market volume. Hundreds of thousands of shares in the pre-market in Alibaba today. It was one of the top volume movers in the pre-market. That was the number two thing I appreciated. Number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, and number 8 are all upgrades. All different analysts coming out upgrading it today. And we went over every single one of them this morning. And it's important to know that all the analysts are upgrading it. Stifel putting a $262 target, raising from 260. Oppenheimer 230 from 220. KeyBank 235 from 219. Benchmark 245 from 225. Wells Fargo, $230 from $220, and SunTrust, $235 from $225. Mark, where did you mine all that phenomenal information? Oh, me? Oh, yeah, I pay a $30 a month service, and I get something called Fly on the Wall, which, if you can't see here, I know it's very low. Here are all the upgrades we went over this morning, right there. Might be hard to read. You literally, it's just all there. All these upgrades on Alibaba. Alibaba price target raise, price target raise, price target raise, price target raise. All right here, right in front of your face with one click of a button on the cheapest, slowest, easiest to use news software out there. The same one I recommended that you guys check out during the course. That's how we found it. So it wasn't anything magical I pulled up. And going back to it now, in the pre-market, I said, guys, if Alibaba breaks the first 1 minute candle, I am going to buy $200 calls for next week. So literally, what I am doing there is I am literally telling you that I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to buy Alibaba if we break out on a 1 minute candle. And I generally do not talk like that. Generally, those are not the words I use, right? Generally, I'm, not talking like that at all. But the reason why I talked about it this time was because I knew I was going to do it. So what I did was, on Baba, I waited for a 1 minute candle to break, and let's go right back to the simple chart, right back. And you could see there, 1 minute breaks early, buy long now. So I literally told you guys the call I was buying next week's calls, which in hindsight was not good. I should have bought this week's calls. I would have made a ton more money. But that's fine. I'm not going to cry a river over it. So on Alibaba today, on the $200 calls for next week, there were 2,000. I don't think that number is right. I think it's more than that. I'm seeing 2,281 here. Hold on. Let me double check. What was the volume? Did you guys get the volume today? What was the volume on the Baba's $200 monthlies today? Because what happened this morning was after we called that buy, all these calls started pulling into the stock. We were the majority of the first 1,000 calls traded in the Alibaba monthlies, on the $200 monthlies today. We were the vast majority of that volume this morning. And what happened was we were up money right away, then we're up more, 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 then we're up more. Next week's way out of the money calls doubled. Now you might be saying there, you might be sitting, Mark, why the $200 calls? Why? It didn't matter. Do you think it really mattered what you bought? Did it matter if you bought the $185 calls, or $190 calls, $192.50 calls, or the $197.5 calls, or the $200 calls 3 months from now, or the $192.5 calls for this week? It didn't matter. They all worked. It doesn't matter. People think like there's some magical science behind it, and there is science behind it, but it's not magical. It's stupid. It's simple. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. It was very easy. So you could see right here on the chart, simple, effective entry. I think there were over, wasn't there over like 12,000? 23. Thank you, Alejandro. Muchos gracias. 23,319. I appreciate that a lot. 23,319 calls in the $200 calls. The Newsbeat live room was responsible for, I would say, 90% of the first 1,000 options that went off in it. Because we note these things before other people. And that's how we got in early. So entry one was simple and effective. I said this is a 1 minute chart. I said if the first 1 minute breaks, buy it. So you see that second green candle? That's when I bought it. If I bought it earlier, I would have had a better price. But I waited for it to break. It did, and I bought it. Then what do? We stair step. You pulled back to the exponential 8. You see entry 2? Guess what? We bought it again, and we nailed the bottom. So let's say you missed it early. We had another buy. And within 7 minutes this time, the stock rallied about $1.50. Your calls went through the ceiling if you bought them. I bought 195 calls on the weekly at that point. We were just playing with so many calls. But what if you missed that? What if you missed that? Was there another entry you could have gotten in? Oh, of course, we called the third entry here. Now we go to the 5-minute chart. Here's the 5-minute chart. This is the stair-step strategy in which we so eloquently reviewed and went over. I call it the Melnick stair-step. Ironically, I don't have any dance moves whatsoever. So it's like I have actually no rhythm when it comes on the dance floor. I mean, if you saw me on the dance floor, you would be the person be like, honey, give me the phone. I think the man's having a seizure. Call 911. Like, that's what you would think if you saw me on the dance floor. But in the market, I'm like a ballerina when it comes to this stuff. So you have a simple 5-minute exponential 8, exactly what we taught through the course, and you bought there. And you bought there. I actually missed this. I called it out in real time. I was watching something else. I caught entries 1, 2, and missed 3. A lot of you caught 3 and made money. Perfect, right? Perfect. 3 simple, effective entries on BABA. I think I was actually playing Apple. So what happened at the time is I literally bought Apple on the first 5-minute pullback on an exponential 8 support. Yep, it happened at the same time. It happened right over here. Whoops, that's a 3-day chart. Here we go. Here's Apple, flushed right here through 186.08. When it hit 185.91, I bought calls when it was at 185.92. Dead bottom of that 10-10 bar. 5 minutes later, my stock went from 185.90s to 187.26. 5 minutes later. My Apple calls exploded. And then, of course, it went up and up and up and up and up. I get it. That was my day. That was the majority of my day. I took a small slap on the wrist in Facebook. I think I ended up just like making a little bit of money in Facebook. That's what I literally call a slap on the wrist. It was the stupidest thing ever. Let's talk about this trade. Facebook also came back and hit a 5-minute support at 10:25 a.m. as you see here. Here's a 5-minute of the Qs. Look what the Qs did at 10:25. It spiked up 60 cents. We called it at the dead bottom before the Qs rose 60 cents, and it actually ended up not working right away. And I made a little bit of money. It was garbage. And then I made a little bit of money calling the dead bottom of Macy's today. We called the dead bottom of Macy's. When Macy's was $29.71 right here, we called the bottom. Why? Because of this ascending support line. It flushed through, and then we called the dead bottom. I bought the calls. I bought the day low of the calls because we bought it when it was at $29.71. That was the garbage trade. I don't care about that trade. This was the trade. This was the trade that you should have been watching. This was the trade that was very easy to capitalize on. And if you're wondering when you should actually chase a name, just make sure you come back. Make sure you come back and you read this page. You closed on the daily. Step 1, you closed on the daily above. I use 4 moving averages, whatever you want, whatever your moving averages are for conviction. Two, the stock has massive pre-market volume. 3 through 8, you don't need 3 through 8. You could have a 3 and a 4 and a 5. You don't need 6 upgrades. You could have 3 upgrades, 2 upgrades, one huge upgrade. Just make sure you have positive upgrades behind it. And if all that is true, if all that is true, whoops, if all that is true, just make sure, that, what the hell happened? There we go. If all that is true, just make sure right over here that you have a 1 minute bar close and then you buy as soon as the top of that 1 minute bar breaks. And that will simply bring you back right here. I hate to show how making really, really nice money on a Monday is so easy, and how we piece the puzzle all together, and how we predicted this ahead of time, and how we were watching it as our favorite name in the pre-market, and how we were saying how we were going to enter it before the market opened, and how we executed it in real time after the market opened. But I'm here to teach you how we do it, and believe me, once you have the right strategy, trading is not that difficult anymore. The difficult part about this strategy was figuring this out. This is the only hard part about the strategy. Figuring out that you needed to piece all these things together to have that conviction that I did this morning. That was the hard part. Guess what? I just took care of it for you. The next time you see a stock that's set up powerfully, the next time you see a stock that follows 1 and 2, you have a high gap up, pre-market volume, closing above 4 powerful moving averages the day before, and you have some upgrades, believe me, you're going to attack that stock and you're going to be effective and you're going to have an awesome day as well. Game plan in Forex, very simple. I'm going to give you the name Blink. That's BLNK. I think what they have like some deal with Whole Foods. It's a recent IPO. They IPO'd on Valentine's Day this year, and then the stock just exploded through all-time highs. I'm looking for a bullish trigger through $4.70. That's today's high. Maybe we get above there tomorrow. Very, very simple game plan. For those, you want all my live Forex orders, huh? You want to know exactly what a professional trader does to make a living in the Forex market, and you don't want to do any work, and you just want to see what I do? Okay, well, I have good news for you. It's my honor and humble pleasure to serve you. Here are my buy orders. These are live orders in my live account. Here's the size. These are in US standard lots. Here's the symbol, the currency pairing I'm trading. Here's the price in which I'm currently bidding at in all 4 of these pairings. Here's my stop loss level if I'm wrong in any of them after I get filled. And here's my take profit level if I'm right in any of them after I get filled. And those are my Forex orders for the evening. And of course, very simply right now, we're going to go into our full stock analysis. It's going to be your stocks, my levels and thoughts where I would potentially buy and sell the stocks that are on your radar. And I break them down for you in real time. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, that is for Newsbeat Live members only. We're the fastest growing trading room in the nation. Happy trading, make money. We'll see you guys next time on the Newsbeat Live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful evening.